My 18th birthday! Finally legal. So I figured there's absolutely nothing better for me to do on my birthday than spend it in Barnes & Noble later and make a video about books. I used to have a different channel where I made like stupid music videos or whatever, and every year I'd post one on my birthday. So I figured I would keep that tradition up with this channel. And there's absolutely no better tag for me to do today than the book cake tag. Or as I'm gonna call it, the book birthday cake tag. There's a list of ingredients that are used to make a cake, and then there is a book that will reflect each ingredient in the cake. So let's get started! So first in the cake is the flour. And the book is supposed to be a book that started out really slow but ended up being really good. For this one I chose The Maze Runner by James Dashner. I was the one who suggested to read this book from my school's book club, and after our first meeting everyone said that it was kind of hard to get into, but now that I've finished it, I love this book. It was very hard to get into, but as the plot went on, it got very, very interesting and intriguing, and I'm so excited to see what the rest of the series has in store. Next on our list is The Butter. And this is a book with a really, really rich plot. So I picked it almost fell. So I picked The Darkest Minds by Alexandra Bracken. This is such a freaking good story. Read it. Again, this is another book that like the first 20 or so pages, like it got really, really hard for me to read, but there's just so much that goes into this plot and that progresses through the sequel, and then I'm sure that the end of this trilogy is going to be just as good. If you don't know what The Darkest Minds is about, basically, there is a new disease that starts hitting kids right before puberty, and they either spontaneously die or they get superpowers, and those with the superpowers get put into concentration camps, sort of thing. And so our lead character, Ruby, ends up escaping and running away with other kids that are on the run, and then throughout the series, just more and more crap happens, and it's very, very, very well written, and there's just so much that goes into it. It's such a great story. So that's The Butter. Next we have The Eggs. Now The Egg is going to be a book that you thought was going to be really bad, but turned out really good. For this one I had Shatter Me by Turahe Mafi. I saw the hype about Ignite Me all over BookTube, and I was just like, this is just going to be another stupid love story in either a dystopian world or like a fantasy world like Harry Potter with the Mortal Instruments, and it's not going to be good. It's going to be very, very generic, but it wasn't. I picked it up from the library and it was so amazing. It was very, very different. I mean, it is a love story, it is in a dystopian world, but there's just so much that makes it unique, and that's what I love about the story. Now we have The Sugar, a sweet book. I picked Chasing Redbird by Sharon Creech. I've never heard anyone talk about this book, but it is so, so sweet. This is one of my favorite books from childhood, and I will always read it, and it'll just give me a nice feeling inside. So this book is about a girl who is in like a family of 12, and she's not the youngest and she's not the oldest, so she feels really, really overshadowed by her family. And then one day she's playing in her backyard and she finds a little bit of a trail, and the whole story is her uncovering like a 20-mile trail from probably like the 1800s or something like that, and it's really, really cool. I think this is definitely a book that everyone should read. It's very, very easy to read, it's very, very interesting, and I love it. Next is The Icing. This is the book that covers everything that you look for in a piece of literature. If you know me, you already know which one I'm going to pick. I'm going to pick City Glass for this, by Cassandra Clare. I could pick anything from the Mortal Instruments series and it would fit this one, but because this is the biggest one, I figured I'd choose this one for once, because I always choose City of Bones or City of Lost Souls. But I picked this book because the Mortal Instruments is such a great series. There's a lot of criticism about it on BookTube, but it's amazing. In my opinion, there's absolutely nothing wrong with these books. There's a perfect amount of plot twists. Each character is ridiculously intriguing. The writing style is phenomenal. Cassandra Clare is so talented. I can't even begin to tell you how good she is. Everything flows really, really nicely. And there's just so much put into it that makes it the perfect series. There's nothing wrong with it. Now we have Sprinkles, a series that will always cheer me up. I'm going to pick The Chronicles of Vladimir Todd by Heather Brewer. This is a 5-book series. It's a very, very easy read, and it takes course over like 5 years. But each book is so different and so unique. This is a series that I read maybe 2 years ago was the first time I picked it up, and then I recently bought the books again sometime in like January, and then I reread them again. And this is such a good series. This is a great series. It's very innocent. It's not ridiculously serious. There's nothing boring about it. It's a very lovable book. So this is like a series that I could pick up. I could probably finish it within like less than a week, and I would love every second of reading this book again. And finally, for our last ingredient, we have The Cherry on Top. This is the favorite book that you've read in 2014 so far. I'm going to pick The Unbecoming of Mara Dyer. This is the first video that I've said the right one in it. It's by Michelle Hodkin. Even before I really, really got into reading and booktubing, this series was so intriguing to me. I didn't even really know what it was about until I read it. But there's this girl, and she's goes to an asylum with her friends, and all of her friends die, and then some freaky shit starts happening to her, and it's amazing. It's so unique. I've never read a book like it, and I cannot wait for the third book in this trilogy, but I can because I don't want it to end. Yeah, we're like 4 months into 2014. This is definitely the favorite one that I've read. Alright, that is my birthday book cake tag thingy. I said it wrong. This was very short and sweet, and I loved it. It was very creative. I figured I'm probably not going to have cake today, so I think it's better that I have one made out of books. Who wouldn't want a cake made out of books? Alright, I think that's it. I love you guys. Bye. Oh, I missed the camera. Alright, I love you guys. Bye. Got it.